Merry Christmas, or at least Merry Christmas Eve to all the sirs and zervs out there. Today is the day that we do celebrate here in Finland. Perhaps you might be celebrating as well, so fair enough, more power to you and all the best. Now, today is a good day to be speaking about Solana because really nothing else in this market is moving right now, and Solana did hit one of our major targets, or actually is very, very close to one of our major macro targets, I should say, after hitting one of our more short-term targets based off the past. I think this was about 2 weeks ago at about $100. So in this case, it's a great time to be checking back in on this one because there are a few major things to be interested in, especially for this next 2 week span, I'd say, for, this last week of 2023, and then certainly that first, maybe week to 10 days, I'd say, of 2024. So without further ado, I want to welcome you back to the Aircrown Crypto channel, blah, 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 blah. You already know the rest of that, so I want to keep this one nice and short and sweet because you probably want to go celebrate with your family, so let's just jump right on in over here. So first things first, Solana obviously blasted through that short-term target at $90 to $100. Now we were looking at that when Solana was trading at like $60, but seeing the way that Solana has actually completely just bulldozed its way through that region, it does make me entertain the likelihood that Solana still has likely one more move to the upside before the overall macro move here that begun back in October is over. Now, when I say that, that first leg of the macro move is over, I'm not saying that it's over for forever. I'm just saying that it's over, likely to lead into a long-term consolidation, and then if I'm giving my personal opinion, probably long-term continuation as well, just personal opinion. But in this case, where's the next macro area to be aware of? The 786 fib right here at about 128. I'd even just make that a range between about 120 to 130. So far, Solana's gotten nearly to 120. Current high is 118. So in this next week or two, let's say before like the 10th day of January of 2024, I do still look at this one as likely to spike a little bit higher. But ultimately, the majority of this move is very, 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 very likely over, as we'll go over soon enough. Not only is it going to be tested in this region right here, which is pretty hotly contended, but it's also going to be a retest of the bear market rally back in March of 2022. So these areas are going to be really, 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 really important. On every altcoin or Bitcoin for that matter, it's all the same thing really. When it comes to regions like this, very likely an area of pullback. Again, I'm not saying that's going to reverse and go down to hell from there, but it's likely going to go into a long-term consolidation and probably spend, I would likely guess, the majority of Q1 of 2024, in a mostly sideways market and setting up for continuation probably later in 2024. Anyways, so again, it's hit a high of about 118. Maybe it has another 10-ish bucks to go as it spikes into the next week or two. But ultimately, this one's hitting some pretty major targets here. So it's time to be looking at this one as likely to go into consolidation. Looking at our oscillators right here, we do see weekly RSIs at the highest level we've seen since basically August of 2021. That is a, what read is this right here? 87.36, which is pretty fucking high. I don't typically just call out like raw numbers for the RSI, but that is kind of where it did top back around in 2021, very, very close to it. And then also we do see that the weekly jewel is way the fuck up there as well. So keeping momentum, this high for, another few closures is going to be pretty fucking difficult is what I'm trying to say, which does make me quite confident that this one has played out a good portion of this rally already. Volatility getting up there as well. Not super high just yet, but around about 82 percentile. But here's the thing. When we go into a relatively shorter term time frame, when we go into the daily time frame over here, we can see that the daily time frame as far as the HPDR bands is already waking up above the 95% of historic returns range high. This rally is very impressive. Again, it might go a little bit higher towards 130-ish region, which would actually be the 99% of historic returns range high. But statistically speaking, it's just not wise to be betting on major continuation, especially above these regions here, and especially in the more near term. Can spike up into these regions in the near term. Yeah, that's fine. maybe even a little bit higher. This is a pretty impressive run, no doubt. But ultimately, I'll be looking for signs of reversal around that point. You'll probably see some like that, and then coming into like a week or two in January, then probably a bit of a pullback, consolidate lower, blah 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 blah, and well, sets it up for a move. Maybe late Q1 or probably more likely Q2 if I had to guess. So in this case, you can see that fiscally speaking, it's really fucking far out there. It's just not wise to be betting upon continuation from these regions, or like major continuation from these regions without a consolidation in which you see that 50% range at minimum start to catch up to current price action, which is right now very, very far away. I mean, just in terms of like raw percentage, the top end is 42% away from current price action. I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot. But in the meantime, the Solana meme coins, they get to rally up, and everyone's like super happy with that. And fair enough, more power to you. Like if you've been profiting a lot off that, I'm happy for you. That's great. That's amazing. I see the dog with hat and shit like that. It's fucking funny, man. It's super funny. But anyways, also looking at Solana versus Bitcoin over here, same thing, same exact chart, basically, almost right towards that 786 fib there, which is about 28,500 Satoshis. So in this case, maybe one more spike around there, that's fine. But I'll be looking for, signs of reversal around this region, and maybe coming all the way back down to about 22,000. In fact, for Solana, back on over here, where it'd be a nice price for Solana to come back down to maybe 80s, 70, 80 region, completely fine. Sometime in Q1 of 2024. So again, most of these runs getting extremely mature right here, pretty fucking extended, and on both pairs, versus the dollar versus Bitcoin, it does look like we're kind of seeing the same thing. As far as momentum oscillators go over here, it's the same thing basically. We're actually getting our first sort of major signal of slowdown on the weekly Joule for Solana versus Bitcoin. It did fire this off on both of these major tops over here. Again, I do want to say that on this particular top, which I will highlight, where's my damn thing? There we go. We'll do a vertical line for this one. When it started to highlight over here for this particular top, which things did, come down 50%. It doesn't even look like anything on the chart, but that is about a 50% move from wick to wick. Things did continue on from there. And I think that that's probably what we're going to see from here. It's going to be a big pullback, probably not 50%, but who knows when you're talking about something like this, highly volatile altcoin. And then like they continue up, in the later portion of 2024. Anyways, what's very interesting to me, and what I'll give an insight into for the video tomorrow, is that Solana, if we go back to this chart over here, we just take everything off, get naked on these charts. If you can just put this chart in the back of your mind's eye, you can see that Solana is essentially kind of one of the leaders of this market right now. And you can see kind of like a fractal relationship between Solana chart and, let's say, Ethereum chart. Ethereum chart just looks like a less evolved version of Solana right here in terms of maturity of the current, of the current move. So what essentially am I saying? I'm saying, and what we'll go into tomorrow, is that we're probably going to see a rotational market here. We're probably going to see Ethereum take the reins, I think maybe next-ish, would kind of make sense. And we're probably going to see it put in a similar move toward, like Solana, somewhere around that bear market rally high that we did see in 2022, which for Ethereum would be, low 3,000s. Again, over time. And while that's happening on Ethereum, I would expect Solana to probably pull back, consolidate lower, and let Ethereum kind of take the reins for a little bit of time. And you'll see these rotations go on. And this is what you want to see in kind of a more long-term healthy-ish market. So in this case, I just look at this kind of like par for the course. It's generally good if you want to be bullish. It's what we saw in 2017 as well. And it looks like we're seeing it again here in 2023 and 2024. So I think that's a good place for me to be leaving off on this particular video. Again, just a major warning for Solana. It's like, hey, most of this rally is already done, or at least in my opinions, or not necessarily my opinion, but fiscally speaking, it's not wise to be betting against that as of this current moment. Maybe one more spike up, and then look for the next rotation, because that's where the money is going to be. So I'll be signing off on that note. As always, I want to wish you the best, especially on this nice little Christmas Eve day. It's nice and snowy outside of here in Helsinki, Finland. Not that cold as well, which is pretty nice. So I'm gonna be signing off on that. Gonna eat a shit ton of gingerbread cookies and stuff myself to all fucking hells and eat all of the honey that I have. I've been collecting honey, by the way, recently. It's really, really good, especially when you get like, it's like collecting wine, but I guess more nerdy. And so like, I go through all the fucking stores and I look for the ones that are like super organic, super raw, and you know they have all the finished shit on them, and it's actually really fun. Did you know that a 250 gram jar of honey can cost up to like 500 euros? Did you know that? I didn't know that. But this Manuka shit, man, it's that's a different thing. It's more like medicinal honey. Anyways, I'm talking about shit that you don't give a fuck about. That's fine. I'm gonna be signing off on that note. I hope you get some honey for Christmas. Take care. Much love, and see you hopefully tomorrow.